Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show. Star Trek Picard is a show that's on CBS Access, and it's kind of vaguely based on Star Trek and sold on nostalgia, but with a very 2010s writing style. Episode 7, Nepenthe, starts off with a flashback as usual. This time it's a flashback of Dr. Robot's meeting with Commodore O a few weeks back. Like, she's the Vulcan, Romulan, whatever spy baddie person pretending to be Starfleet top brass. And she tells the doc that she knows everything she's been up to, and then does a big mind meld on her and blats her brain full of lots of quick cut imagery that looks kind of bad, and then gets her to eat a tracking tablet and help their side. And back in the present, things are going badly for Hugh because Eleanor the elf guy has vanished inexplicably, and Cersei Romulan's killing off all the ex-Borgs because he won't say where Picard went. Then she lets him go and walks away, and because he's Federation, and apparently if she kills him, then that's a war on. And then he sees Eleanor the elf, and they pop off to get the transporter portal thing again. But gotcha, it turns out that Cersei was watching the whole time, and then it turns into a big fight, and Elrond kills all her dudes. And then when they're having their one-on-one fight, she ends up nailing Hugh with a throwing knife. And then as he's dying, he tells Elf Guy to get some ex-Borgs to help him, and then that's him out. Pour one out for your dead homie. Meanwhile, Rios, Robots, and Raffi manage to break away from the Borg cube, and they're being chased by Chad Romulan in his wee spaceship. All because he can track Dr. Robots' tracker thing. And that's got Dr. Robots freaking out, and Raffi does her best enabling and makes her eat a bunch of cake. She ends up doing a yucky puke and then goes to the medical bay. And then she puts herself into a coma because, I don't know, at this point, guilt maybe? Meanwhile, Picard and Soji have landed on this paradise looking planet, and they find this bow and arrow wielding kid who seems to think she's Princess Mononoke or something. But it turns out that she's actually Riker and Troy's wee nuff kid daughter. And they're kind of happy to see Picard and realise almost immediately that she's Data's daughter and there's a whole a load of bad thing on. So he explains it to everyone. And Soji's still kind of untrusting of him. But then they all have dinner and everyone bonds and stuff and talks about it, and eventually she gets on side with all of them. And the ship arrives, and that's it. No, really, I guess, honestly, that's it. That's the end of the episode. So what did I think? Well, it's kind of fitting to remember that, the third episode of Picard was really easy for me to summarise because basically nothing happened in it. And here we are again with an episode near the end of the show where basically nothing happened. And it was all about getting characters all on the right page. And we got a whole episode that was kind of 50% fan service, was Riker and Troy turning up. And I've got to be honest, I was grinning like an absolute idiot when Picard and Riker met up because, these are two characters I know and love from the show. And more than that, it was really nice to see Deanna as well. And Will giving Jean-Luc a hug was absolutely brilliant. And it was also great just seeing them chat about stuff and being themselves, despite some occasionally really clumsy stuff. That it was actually pretty interesting. And it was nice to see little moments of realism and the actors acting naturalistically and playing little looks and stuff off between themselves. And that made sense, amidst some of the cringy dialogue. And hats off to Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis for reprising these roles and making them feel, well, the same, just older. Riker's a total cool old dad vibe, and she really feels like Troy, just older, and they both played the moments where they clearly still hurt by the death of their son, and that was really well done. And it's nice to see the wee lassie from Annabelle Creation and The Haunting of Hill House. She's really good and stuff, and her scenes with Soji, they were fantastic. Although even her weird made-up language stuff did make me think of that bit from that reading Walking Dead video thing.
Okay, yeah, you're the stuff of bad dreams. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Sorry, demon.
And it was really nice to see Hugh again, although that did feel like this was a reshoot scene or a pickup or something, because all of his dialogue was really functional and perfunctory, and it felt a little bit rushed. And then, oh look, he's dead. Just like I said last week would probably happen. So yeah, what was there not to like this week? Well, obviously Hugh dying. Kind of needlessly and pointlessly after all that nonsense of a fight. Why not kill him off last week? Why not kill him earlier in this? And also, how did he manage to get caught when he was right beside Elf Guy at the end of the last week? And yet somehow he's been rounded up and they've had time to get him together, get all the other guys together, round them up, and then starting to shoot them one by one like Nazis in some old war film. And then the Elf Guy's just not there. And then suddenly he turns up just after she lets him go. Or was he hiding out the way and he just wasn't doing it? That doesn't seem right because that's not how he operates. Oh wait, it was just because it was convenient and you're not supposed to think or ask questions. Or how on the spaceship, Chad Romulan was there, but he was staying just outside sensor range. And then you see the shot and he's not outside sensor range, he's literally about 150 feet away. So sensor range is either really, really close by, or their ships are absolute rubbish, or this was just really, really stupid. Because, honestly, they should be able to see him out the window. Hell, his headlights should be blinding them the second they actually even walked past a window. Now, it was just kind of silly. And like with the Picard story, I mean, the Riker and Troy stuff was nice enough, but again, the dialogue was really horrible. And the thing about Thaddeus dying because they didn't have a positronic brain handy to like fix him seems crazy. I mean, it felt really contrived for the storyline. And again, it also doesn't sound like the Federation because they feel like the kind of people who would have kept at least one in a vault somewhere because that's kind of what they do. And I know that the idea is this is a different Federation from before, but if things had gotten this bad, I mean, the galaxy would surely be in a totally different state. And also, they had hundreds of those synths lying around, and they didn't keep a single one in a vault at all. And we know that's not true because, look, B4 was still there. They had him in a box. So they literally did have a positronic brain they could have used. So I don't understand why they didn't, like, petition someone to do that and sure there would have been an outcry. Seems absolutely mental. And yeah, I mean, again, it made more sense when there was only a couple of them in existence, but now they've said, oh, look, there's thousands of them, and but then they all went bad, so we had to kill them all that was left. But yeah, it does seem kind of stupid. So how about you fuck off, show with your absolute contrived bollocks? And also, how come the daughter was the only one who actually seems to have all this knowledge of Data, and yet she's the one character who never actually spent any time with Data at all, because she was born long after he died?
Seems weird to make an android with mucus and saliva, but I guess Data would do it like that.
And also, there was a load of like nonsense scenes with Picard. Like, where Picard just turned out a totally different character just so he could be lectured by the other ones.
Yeah, you're right. All this is an elaborate plot. I wouldn't trust any of this if I were you.
I mean, he was just being weird. He wasn't. I mean, maybe this is supposed to be him slightly strange, and Will does say something about, in your condition, but he doesn't make it out like the condition is because he's actually being weird. Also, how come Dr. Robot's, like, when she got handed that, like, tracking device, she immediately just eats it? And she says, take it. I mean, she didn't say eat it, she said, take it. And then she immediately pops it in her mouth, and then she's like, you have to chew. It's like, how did you know that it was even supposed to eat it in the first place? I mean, I would assume you just put it in your pocket, like the Viridian patch that Spock slaps on the back of Captain Kirk back in Star Trek Six. So yeah, that again didn't make much sense, and it wasn't awful, but the show peddled water totally this week, and it was kind of dull. And I'm getting seriously close to just giving up on this show. I mean, honestly, if this was like episode 4 or 5 at this point, and I was this annoyed with it, I would probably just stop. But there's only 3 episodes left till it's finished, so I'm definitely going to continue the rest of the season. And apparently, I have heard that there are talk of them having different writers and showrunners next season, so we'll see. It could be better. But this week, literally just a bit boring and crap. So till next time, I've been Ian, and these have been my grumpy opinions.